Welcome to Journey to Wholeness, hosted by author and life coach Indiana Tuggle, where we help Christian women heal, achieve mental wellness, and spiritual growth so you can accomplish your goals and purpose.
Welcome to Journey to Wholeness, and I am your host, Indiana Tuggle. And today we have in the studio Chelsea McLeod, who is coming to us from Sydney, Australia. And she is a hormone health coach, and she is the owner of Healthy Hustle Method. So I am so excited to have her in the studio with us today, and we're going to talk about healing hormone health and in our gut health. And if you are tuning into Journey to Wholeness for the first time, which is the first time for all of us because I am back for 2025 and this is the first one for the new year. So first of all, Happy New Year. And Journey to Wholeness is really about us sharing not just our testimonies and not just our products and our services, but sharing our strategies of how we heal and how we overcome so that you can heal and overcome in your life as well. So I'm really excited. Chelsea and I just met. We just met for the very first time. We are a part of this group called Need a Guest. And I reached out and I said I needed some guests for my podcast that I'm streaming coming up in the new year. And she responded when I reached out to her because I was looking for health coaches for this month. So I am really excited to hear what she has to say because this is one of those subjects that's near and dear to my heart because I am on a health journey and I am trying to lose the weight, feel better, get my body back better, get my body back moving better, better mobility. So this is one of those that's near and dear to me because I know that weight loss is not just about diet and exercise. Well, it is about diet and exercise, but sometimes it's mental and spiritual as well. So you have to take a holistic approach. And we're going to let Chelsea introduce herself first. So go ahead, Chelsea.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to meet you and chat with your audience. So my name's Chelsea. I'm a health coach for high-performing women. A lot of women who own their own businesses like yourself, a lot of women who work in corporate, a lot of new moms actually, but they could range anywhere in age from 30 to 60. So I have women of all ages where we work on balancing hormones and fixing gut issues. So women can really restore power to the body, feel the way they want to, and of course, look the way they want to. And what we find is when we start to change the metric of, a number on the scale to creating health and creating foundational health, using very scientifically proven protocols that really work on underlying root cause imbalances in the body, the physical results kind of fall into place as a result of that. And so in that way, what I do is it's not, a nutritionist or a personal trainer diet plan. It's really focusing on building those, root cause healing that then produces a physical result. So we don't do diets. We really focus on healing the body.
That's awesome. Because healing the body can be so multifaceted. And I talk a lot about how your journey, your way, because what works for one person may not work for another. So you really have to be in tune with your body in order to make sure that you're doing things properly and you're doing things that's going to be best for you in your journey. So I'm going to get into some of the questions that I have. So first of all, can you help us to understand, share a little bit about your journey from corporate to being a hormone health coach?
So my mess became my message, and I never intended to become a health coach. It happened because I had to heal myself. So I was in corporate for, over 10 years. I worked for big footwear companies in digital. So I worked on kind of the e-commerce side. So I was working long hours. I was, just crushing work. Like I would have so much work every day, just like you being also in the digital space, you would understand this, but just the volume of work that you have to produce as a digital professional is just very high. So there was a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings. And on top of that, I was a college athlete. So I naturally have a strong work ethic, but I also worked out a lot. So I was kind of burning the candle at both ends. I was working long hours, in a highly stressful job where things are highly visible. You know, if you make a mistake in e-commerce, it's broadcast to millions of people on like the Reebok.com website, the Crocs.com website, whatever company I was working with at the time. And I eventually came to manage really big teams and really big P&Ls for big businesses of publicly traded companies. So on top of, you know, work stress and traveling and international flights, I was also working out really hard every single day. I was, you know, very disconnected from myself because I think as women, especially women who are in roles that naturally give a lot, whether that's being a mom or whether that's being, you know, a team leader, like you are just in a constant place of depletion. And so for me, that was me for 12 years. I didn't sleep. I had constant sugar cravings. I had a very poor relationship with food, very poor self-esteem. You know, I had all the classic signs of a hormone imbalance that I can talk through right now. So that includes, you know, for your listeners, it's really good for you to know this so you can kind of be aware if you have a hormone balance issue come up in the future. So it's things like weight gain around the belly, digestive issues, sleep issues, and especially, this is really interesting, waking up at 2 or 3 a.m., which is a sign of a cortisol imbalance, acne and skin issues, you know, feeling very low energy, feeling like you have to go to the coffee machine straight in the morning or your day's not actually starting, even things like headaches, cravings, any irregularity with the cycle. But also when we talk about, you know, I work obviously with a lot of menopausal women. And for those women, it's, you know, they're having the hot flashes, they're having the poor sleep, they're having the weight gain around the middle. But what I'm seeing now is that stuff's not actually just predestined to happen in menopause. That's actually a sign that there's an imbalance that you can take care of. So while I wasn't necessarily going through menopause, I was experiencing a lot of menopausal symptoms as a 30-something-year-old. And, you know, this was a product of poor stress, but also, you know, I was a fitness instructor and I played sports. So I kind of thought I was doing all the right things. I wasn't really eating what I thought to be that bad. You know, I wasn't going to McDonald's every day. I was eating sweet green salads. And, you know, I thought I was doing the right things, but looking back on it now, it's so clear that I was not because I just didn't understand how hormones worked. So for me, it took, you know, 10 years of searching for solutions to exhaustion, trying different medications. You know, I went to my doctor and was trying to like get help with sleeping and I had acne as an adult, which made no sense. And I went on antibiotics for a year. So every time I went to the doctor, they would just kind of prescribe me something that would kind of fix this issue over here, but there would be another symptom that would pop up over here. So it just felt like I was kind of chasing my tail and not getting the results. And the worst part about this is like, all of my friends had the same problems, you know? And so we all kind of just thought it was normal to be a woman who has really painful periods, who's not sleeping well. And we all just kind of commiserated, thinking that this is a normal thing. And now that I'm on the other side of this, and I went back to school to study it and started working with clients, I can say for sure that while it is common, it's not normal at all. And there's so much you can do to heal yourself. It's just what took me 10 years to do for myself takes my clients 3 to 6 months because I have the cheat codes for them. Like I have the exact protocols that get them as far as I did in 10 years. So this is why I feel so strongly. I feel like there's an entire generation of women who are just not really vibrating at their highest frequency. Like they're not having the impact that they were really designed to make because they're not healthy and because they don't have, you know, they don't have the physical resources in their body to actually live their true life's purpose. And I don't know if you're a religious person, but I definitely like am a huge believer in God and like that God put people on this planet for a reason. And so for me, it's like, this is almost my way of ministering to women, of like helping them heal themselves so that they can really expand their impact, because I couldn't have the impact that I have now. You know, I've worked now with over 120 clients in the last year and a half since I launched this business because it just started growing so fast. And that's not a normal amount of clients to have in a 1-year period in your first year in business as a practitioner, right? Like most of my peers who I talk to they're struggling to get 1 client a month. You know, I've got them coming from all angles. I have too many to respond to in the DMs because there's so many women who are really resonating with this message. And so for me, like I couldn't do this level of work and help women in this way until I healed myself. So it just goes to say like, what is possible for other women who also do this level of healing and who have the support to do it faster. Like they can just really step into an entire new life. And it's really amazing because like I see women quit jobs and start businesses. I see women leave unhealthy relationships. I see them get pregnant after trying for years, and solve long-standing autoimmune conditions. I'm obviously not a doctor, so I don't cure anything. I don't diagnose anything. But what I do is help really, really heal root cause issues like thyroid issues, gut issues, hormone imbalances, things like, I have one woman who was pre-diabetic in the diabetic range. Now she is completely healthy and it's been 3 months. So it's like, this is what happens when you really take your health seriously. But for me, there has to be a real desire for women to do this because not everyone wants to heal. Not everyone wants the result. What makes me different is I work with people who actually want it. Like they want that next level of evolution. And so they step in, their guns blazing, and they get the result so fast.
Absolutely. And I think you already touched on it, but let's start to talk about some of those symptoms and signs of hormone imbalances that we might tend to overlook.
So weight gain is a pretty standard one, especially if it's in the midsection. So for women, that's belly, hips, thighs. I see it in men too. So I don't know. Is your audience mostly women, do you think, that I'm speaking to right now?
Probably mostly women, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I would say is most common for women, and especially women who are approaching menopause. They're going to have the belly fat. That's a sign that something's a little bit amiss. Digestive issues like bloating, constipation. If you're not going once a day, it's a sign that something's going on, whether it's your gut, whether it's your hormones. Sometimes it's typically a combination of both. Any changes in your skin or appetite, big changes in energy level. So if you're having that afternoon crash, if you're having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, having those 2 or 3 a.m. wake ups is a pretty clear sign that there's a hormonal imbalance. But even things like migraines can be hormonally related. And also, obviously, if you have any diagnosed conditions from a doctor like PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis, those are a sign that there's a deeper imbalance as well. And another one that I'd like to talk on is just kind of mental health stuff, right? Like if you feel very low mood or depressed or feel anxious, I can't tell you how many women I work with who, after they kind of sort out the fundamentals, they like anxiety doesn't really exist in their body anymore because they've solved the issue. So I can't tell you how important it is to that body and mind kind of work together on some of these hormonal issues.
Absolutely. You hit so much on my list already.
Oh, no.
I have PCOS. Then there was the midsection gain, then there was the sleep and all of that, the anxiety, definitely the hormone imbalance. And you also mentioned before about the symptoms of premenopause, because I feel like I have the symptoms of premenopause as well. But I am 47, so it does run early in my family as well. My mom hit menopause early too, as well. So I kind of feel like I have a mixture of the imbalance and still going through the change as well. So that's why I was so excited to talk to you about that as well. So why do you think why do you believe that so many women accept those symptoms as normal, right?
I think it's just such a widespread issue that people just don't know. You can't see the water that you're swimming in. And because everyone's like, oh, everyone's suffering through their perimenopause symptoms and everyone has cramps and no one's sleeping well after they have their first kid. People are like, oh, that's just normal. That's just part of being a woman. Suffering is just kind of a requirement. Like it is what it is. As far as the actual root cause of this, I think America is not an easy place to be healthy. Like it's really just not. And so part of what I do as a health coach, right, is, a lot of people think health coaches are just gonna like tell you to walk more and do some jumping jacks and eat vegetables. But, while there are very prescriptive protocols that I use with clients that are they're based in the science. Like, this isn't just eat a cup of rice and some broccoli. Like this is very, very complex and very science-based, very clinical-based stuff, because we're really trying to balance your blood sugar. We're really trying to heal your body and laser target issues through functional medicine lab testing. So we can build that, that personalized protocol to really help accelerate someone's results. But the other part of health coaching is like teaching people how to navigate a food system and an economic system that is not easy to thrive in. Like, and I can say that even as someone who's lived in Australia for 6 years. I used to live in Boston. Before that, I lived in Memphis. Before that, I lived in Montana. So I've kind of seen different parts of the world and different parts of the country. And it's like, the food supply is not easy to navigate. We don't know what's in our food. People don't have the skill of reading labels and understanding what to put in their body. So we just kind of shoot from the hip. And so it's like, that's why I tell people who, if you are serious about looking and feeling the way you want to, you have to invest in learning the skill. Like, it's not, oh, I'm just going to eat better this January. It's like, I need to become the person who can learn how to produce this result, because it's not as easy as you would think. And especially for women who try to take action using, supplements from the TikTok shop, and they're saving reels on Instagram, and they're listening to this podcast that says eating 200 grams of protein. They're just kind of like pulling together this random plan and then going to their doctor, and their doctor's telling them to just change their birth control or to get on an antidepressant. It's like, we got to do better. We have to do better. We have to learn skills. And that's why women who I work with, like, they just get the result because they have a professional who's not only done this before, but who's gone back to school to teach them how to get the result. So, I would just encourage people who are experiencing symptoms, like, if you have the desire to get well, which not everyone does. Some people are very happy. It serves them in some way. If a condition or a situation is in your life, it's there because you're choosing it in some reason. So it's like, I always ask people, if they come to me with an autoimmune condition, or, they have type 2 diabetes, or they're overweight, we really have to dig underneath the hood from a coaching perspective and decide, how is that serving you? Like, how is that benefiting you in some way? For a lot of women, it's, I don't want to be seen. So losing this weight would make me feel very exposed. I have clients who have had, who have been sexually assaulted, who are like, if I'm attractive like I was before, I'm not safe. So they actually are creating safety in their body by being in a bigger body. Like, those are just a couple examples. But we really have to, that's part of the coaching process, is figuring out why you got to this place in the first place, and then building a plan forward so that we can really make it sustainable, so that it's not a diet plan for January that goes out the window. It's like, you're becoming the person.
Absolutely. And for me, it's been a diet plan every January. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, this time you got to really figure out what's going on with your body, why it's not been sustainable, why you can't stick with it, so it has to be a lot more mental and spiritual when it comes to really taking a holistic view of it, so that it can be sustainable for the long term, and we can get off the yo-yo of starting again, stopping again, losing the same. But like I say, I'm losing the same 30 pounds over and over. I lose it, then I gain it. Then I lose it, then I gain it. So it's kind of like the same thing over and over again. So let's walk through the core principles of the healthy hustle method. That's a lot of H's.
So when it comes to health and hormone balance, there's 6 key pillars that I work with clients on.
Okay.
I use a little acronym for it called CENTER. Now, I want to start first with, we'll go in order, but C stands for connect. So for a lot of women, we are very disconnected from our bodies. So, as much as we want to dive into diet plans and drinking more water and exercising, we always have to return to ourselves, connect with ourselves, understand ourselves. Really, so before a client even touches any kind of nutrition plan, they're doing some self-reflection on where they're at, why they got there, what result they specifically want, and why they want it. Because in order to create sustainable change over time, the why has to be really strong. If it's not strong enough, it's not worth it, because guess what? It's not easy to be healthy. Like, it gets to be easy, but when you first make that big step and you're making a lot of changes, that's uncomfortable. So unless someone really wants it, they're not going to do the work. They might do it for 2 weeks and then they drop off. So getting really clear on their why. And then also, spending time in the morning, every single morning, to connect with yourself and set the intention for, I have my clients ask 3 questions every single morning. After doing a quick body scan and assessing their energetic levels, it's, what am I deeply grateful for today? How do I want my day to look? And who do I want to become today? What qualities do I want to show the world today? And, with my type A clients, they kind of hear that one and it's an eye roll. They're like, just give me the diet plan, Chelsea. And I'm like, that's fine. You can skip that now, but we'll get back. You'll put it on the shelf. You can come back to it later when you understand its value. E of center stands for eating high vibrational foods. So really learning the skill of eating foods that help you look and feel the way you want to. So for most clients, this is, we focus on fruits, vegetables, protein, healthy fats, like, we will do things like avocado, nuts, seeds, just really reducing how far up it is in the food supply, removing processed foods, teaching them how to read labels. If you turn it around and you don't know what's in it, or you can't recreate it in your kitchen, or you can't pronounce the ingredients, or you have to Google them to figure out what they are, probably not a high vibrational food. And so it's amazing as women start to make these changes and they cut out things like gluten and dairy in the short term, not forever, just seeing how much inflammation decreases in the body and how much they depuff and how much their midsection starts to release weight. So really becoming strong discerners of our food supply and just, eating a little bit lower down the food chain, learning how to do food prep at home, learning where to order from if they need to order Uber Eats. So just learning that, again, like true skill set of high vibration eating, and also fueling yourself with the ample water. Like you just need water. Most people are super dehydrated by the time they get to me. So increasing how much water so you can actually burn fat, and keep your energy levels high, keep your gut and your brain hydrated. N is for nurturing your nervous system. Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest principles of hormone balance is learning how to take care of your nervous system, and that's really the foundation of hormone balance, because when we're able to learn to manage stress, to be able to identify it in our body and put safety into our body, we can create these chemical changes and almost like biohack how our body feels. So that's a big one that we focus in terms of just controlling your cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And, this is something I get deep into in my 6-month program, but learning how cortisol feels in your body, learning how stress feels in your body, because when cortisol is high, as a woman, your sex hormones are going to come down. Mm-hmm. So that's where you start to get hormonal imbalances. That's where you start to see things like PCOS and blood sugar dysregulation, because cortisol just kind of knocks everything off center. So if there could be women who, maybe it's a combination of diet, maybe it's a combination of like stress, unresolved trauma, stored emotional issues. It's all of it. It could be nutrient deficiencies. It could be stored toxins from anything from the food you're eating to what you're putting on your body. If you're using like high chemical beauty products, it could be, high chemical deodorants that your body's just kind of freaking out when it comes near it. So like whatever we can do to nurture our nervous system by cleaning up the inputs we put in, but also just identifying when we feel unsafe in our bodies and just relaxing into it.
Yes.
So T is for train. So in the sense of, moving, we're moving, we're moving our bodies in a way that feels good for us. We are building muscle. As women, we have to build muscle. After age 40, we start to decline. So for all my women, regardless of how old they are, like even if you're not going through menopause, we got to train for menopause, babes. Like we got to build muscle. We got to know how to balance our blood sugar. We got to move our body 10K steps a day. Like, and we start like, obviously with clients, everyone is different. I'm not going to have someone who's not even walking 5K steps a day doing weights on day one. Like we start and we take steps up, right? That's what health coaching is for. So we kind of build it as we go. Now, R is rest. And as type A women, we don't rest. And I'm still learning the value of rest, right? And so like, this could mean even just learning the different types of rest, social rest away from your blue light, like physical rest, learning how to sleep, learning how to train your body circadian rhythm, but also learning how to rest your mind, how to rest your body, how to rest your social batteries, is so incredibly important to actually getting results and looking and feeling the way you want to.
Absolutely. I knew that one was coming. That rest was coming because we are We're living in a culture today where we have people screaming, team, no sleep. And I'm like, no, you have to rest. You need to rest. It is the most important part of your life in regards to rest. Then there's diet, then there's exercise, then in that order. So you cannot skip out on the rest. So when it comes to gut health, why is gut health so critical to balancing the hormones?
So gut and brain work together. So anytime your nervous system is activated, your brain's kind of in that fight or flight mode, it's shutting down your gut, which is going to cause imbalances. Your gut's not really, it's going to stop digesting, it's going to stop working. And in fact, in some cases, the gut wall actually separates and creates permeability. The problem with that is when you're having food, it can escape out through your gut wall, and that causes systemic inflammation, especially for those women who are already highly inflamed, PCOS, endo. That's why a lot of people get joint pain, is because they have a leaky gut and then they're having a high inflammation food, and your body's just freaking out because it's already highly inflamed. So that's where you start to get the joints and the headaches and skin rashes. And so besides leaky gut, it can also cause imbalances in the microbiome, right? And so the goal for all of us is to have a very healthy microbiome, because that's how we absorb our nutrition. That's how we create energy. Like that's where we create neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, right? And so that's where I see a ton of women who, if they are struggling with working with their doctor on something like depression, we'll have a look at their gut and it's a total mess. And then I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. Because even if you're on an antidepressant, if your gut's not balanced, you're going to have a lot of trouble actually creating dopamine and serotonin, especially serotonin, which most of it's made in your gut. So, the mind-gut connection is really inextricably linked. And on top of that, like, it's just not fun for women to be bloated after every meal. Like, I think we've come to just accept that that's normal, but it's not. And it's typically an indication that there's some kind of gut imbalance. That could be a yeast or bacteria, or sometimes even a parasite. I see those occasionally as well. But we can test for this, right? Like there's solutions, there are next steps for all of these things, including just, for any woman who's under stress or dealing with health issues, it's like, we can just rebuild your gut wall. Like, let's just start there and get your gut functioning so that you can actually start healing.
Mm-hmm. So is there like tests that the doctor can run to see if you have any of these issues? Because I know me personally, I've talked to my doctor about it, and he's testing blood and all of this. And he's like, your blood scores, everything is right. Everything is good with the exception of iron. You're like, with everything, my iron is always low because I'm anemic, but everything is good. And he's looking at me and I'm looking at him and he's like, I don't know what to tell you, but lose some weight, and I'm like, how do you, express concerns such as this to your doctor?
You are not alone. And where I tell clients, you got to hire the right man for the job. So a doctor's job is to run diagnostic tests and diagnose disease and keep you alive. A doctor's job is not to find root cause imbalances of your body to help you look and feel the way you want to. That's really more of a health coach's job. So what we do, while doctors are great at finding disease and keeping you alive, these are not tests that you would run with a doctor. So if you suspect an issue, always test with your doctor, always run your bloods. You always need to do that to prevent any deeper issues, catch disease, catch cancer, everything. If it comes back normal, two things you have to remember. Number one, blood basically robs from other parts of the bodies to stay balanced because it's such a critical fluid, right? It's our life force. So it could be robbing from different systems, different organs, different tissues to keep it balanced. So your blood's like, okay, well, we're balanced over here, but like all these other systems are not really working optimally. So that's why someone's bloods are fine. But when I run their saliva tests, so I do all this testing inside of my programs. It's functional medicine lab testing, obviously. So this is not doctors diagnosing disease. It's gut microbiome mapping. It's looking at toxicities, looking at vitamin, mineral levels. And that's where we can look up the hood and I'm like, okay, your bloods are good, but your functional medicine lab tests are a mess. Your thyroid is not working properly. Your blood sugar and insulin are not properly working. You have stored toxins. Maybe you have heavy metals. Your gut is showing an imbalance over here that we have to do a protocol. So typically, if someone is experiencing issues and they're not getting answers from doctors, they've just hired the wrong person for the job. So I always tell clients, like, run your bloods every 6 to 12 months, just to tick that box and know that there's not something worse going on. But if these are problems you actually want to solve, you really have to dig deeper with functional medicine labs, which doctors, it's a totally different set of principles, totally different set of tests. Doctors wouldn't even know what you're talking about if you asked. It's really more of a functional medicine piece.
Oh, wow. So what are some things that women can start doing today to help improve?
I always start with food because it's the fastest result. And it's the most, there's a million things we could do, right? Like when we talked about center before, but if you could do one thing today, reduce your processed foods, start to really get comfortable in the kitchen, start to get comfortable with home meal prep. And if you're not sure how to do that, like I run a boot camp every quarter that gets incredible results. Like women lose as much as 14 pounds in 2 weeks without dieting, like just by cleaning up their nutrition from a hormonal perspective. Removing things like gluten and dairy, like even just replacing those two things, massive, massive difference, especially for women who struggle with things like PCOS and, fibroids, just removing those high inflammation foods, cutting out alcohol. And these are not things that you have to cut out all the time or for forever. But for someone who's highly inflamed and dealing with issues, what I typically have them do is remove it for 12 weeks. And they're just like, whoa, I feel like a different person. And then once they're a little bit more healed, we add it back in just in smaller amounts, right? Because what I have clients do is like, we're not on a diet, like we're not restricting, we're healing, right? And so there does kind of have to be a period of time where you kind of do have to be a little bit strict if you seriously want to heal the inflammation, right? But after that, it's like, what if we just 80% of our meals, we ate high vibration food that makes us feel amazing. And then 20%, we have the wine, we have the cheese, we eat out, we enjoy ourselves. Because I do believe that we are put on this earth to enjoy delicious foods and treats and candy. It's just not a majority of the time, right? So learning that skill, those are really easy swaps that I would have women do straight off the bat. Number two, and people are very resistant to this, but as soon as they feel the difference, they typically have more trust in me and don't see me as the enemy anymore, is moving your coffee after breakfast. So this comes back to nurturing your nervous system and making sure that you're not spiking cortisol early in the morning, which is what having coffee on an empty stomach does. So for someone who's already inflamed, they have PCOS, and then they're spiking their cortisol with coffee on an empty stomach, it just makes it worse. And it makes their blood, PCOS is really a metabolic issue. So when we learn how to heal our blood sugar through things like moving caffeine, for some people, it's like they remove it completely and they feel amazing. But if you can just move your coffee after breakfast, it just has a way less dramatic effect on your blood sugar and your cortisol levels than if you have it first thing. Moving after meals is a big one. So, after you eat, take a walk around the block. It doesn't have to be big or dramatic. Grab your husband, your friend, call a friend on the phone, listen to a podcast. Just get in the habit of moving after you eat instead of sitting on the couch or even doing dishes, doing housework, whatever it is for you, is a huge hack. And I know I have a lot of people who are probably in like cold climates. You can't see it over here, but I have a little walking pad. It's very small. It's only like a couple feet long, but it's almost like a mini treadmill that you can just fold up against the wall. A couple $100 on Amazon. Just jump on that while you're on the TikToks or on the face, whatever little things you're doing on your phone. Massive hack, massive difference. I also have, and I can send a link to you after if anyone asks for it, but I have an ebook that kind of goes through all of these steps, step by step. It's free. That's kind of a starting point for women, and it even has some recipes and some shopping lists. But that's an incredible place to start. People will get results with that.
Absolutely. And before we begin to wrap up, how do you encourage your clients to really maintain these results long term?
When we return to the C of the center acronym, of connect. When you get very clear on why you're doing it, it makes it so much easier to do it. Because if someone doesn't want, if it's not that important to them, and we also have to be really honest about what the why is, because some people will say, oh, I'm doing it because I want to run around with my grandkids. But the real reason is like, my kid's wedding is coming up and I don't want to look fat in a dress. Like, we just have to be really honest about what our main driver is and then be willing to put in the work to get there, because it all comes down to mental discipline and just choosing to be consistent. So the really getting crystal clear on your why and making sure it's strong enough is really important, because we're either doing something or we're not. Like, we can't and that doesn't mean going all in and it has to be perfect, or else we just decide to like crumble the tower and be dramatic about it. It's like the biggest markers of success I see with clients is, number one, they actually really want it. Like, they want to make the change. It's important to them. They have a compelling reason. And number two is willingness to be flexible in their thinking. So I can't tell you how many women, it's honestly starting to get like a little boring at this point, because every woman's like, I'm a perfectionist. I'm either in or I'm out. And I'm like, okay, Karen, like, that's why you're not successful. I don't know what to tell you. You have to choose flexibility of thinking. If you can't be flexible about it and you can't accept failure, you're not going to be successful, because you will fail. So like, how do you behave when you fail? If you don't behave in a way that's like, okay, what did I learn here? If they just beat themselves up and decide to go binge eat, it's like, they're not going to be successful. But if they're able to be flexible, able to be forgiving, ultimately it comes down to, it sounds so corny, but like having self-compassion and self-understanding is the two biggest markers of what is going to make this sustainable over time. On top of that, there's just some people who really want accountability. And that's why I have a 6-month program, right? Like, some people don't need the accountability and some people really do. They want to be supported through and shepherded through this process. It's a long process. Like, it took me 10 years and I am highly disciplined, highly motivated. You know, some people just, they want that, and that helps them form habits. So depending on your personality, if that's something you need, like attaching to some kind of program, coach, trainer, whatever that is for you, that's going to hold you accountable, is a good place to start. Knowing that at the other side, it's really important to become the person who can hold yourself accountable, because you want what you say you want.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And my thing is, give yourself grace, not excuses. And
Love that.
accountability partners are great. But when it comes to the long term, you do have to learn how to become your own accountability partner, because life happens and people change, things change. They have to go along with their life and they may not want it as bad as you. So you can't really put that much of a weight on somebody else. You have to learn how to do it for yourself. So how can women connect with you to learn more about your programs?
You can find me at Chelsea McLeod on Facebook. So you probably see me live on this video. I put most of my content on Instagram, so it's Healthy with Chelsea. So if you want daily tips, motivation, that's where to find me. I also have all the information on my programs there. If it feels genuinely aligned for any women who have heard this and say, yes, this is something I want. And I'm also launching a podcast in a couple weeks. So it's going to be called It's Not You, It's Your Hormones. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to give away a lot of just free information to really help women, because I get messages all the time from women who may not be able to afford a coaching program, but they say like, hey, what you put on Instagram, like, literally changed my life. So that's a great way to just get some information and guidance.
I love that name. It's not you, it's your hormones. I love that.
Yes.
What's one last piece of advice or encouragement that you would like to leave for us?
It's hard when you are stuck in a place where you just feel lost and desperate and frustrated and exhausted. And what I want to say is, there's so much hope for healing when you choose it. Even if you have not gotten answers from doctors, or you feel crazy, or you don't feel yourself, that's not a feeling that's going to last forever. There's so much healing that's possible for you, and you can literally start today with making some of these changes. And once you make one little change, that's all the momentum you need to start spinning the wheel. And this, that starts affecting your sleep, and that starts affecting your appetite, and this starts affecting your energy levels. It all moves together. And so just pick one thing to really start moving yourself forward, if you're feeling stuck.
Absolutely. I love that. Picking one thing. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Chelsea. This has been extremely informative. You've given me some things to think about, some things to implement as well. I love hearing different perspectives and hearing what health coaches have to say, because you're absolutely right. The doctor doesn't really know everything about it. You really have to go straight to a health coach or nutritionist to figure out what to do for your body. So again, I want to thank you so much. Everyone who is watching, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, if you see us, share us, tell someone about it as well. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to Journey to Wholeness, brought to you by Indie Writes, a spiritual growth and development company that helps you write your way to success and wholeness in every area of your life. We specialize in books and journals that promote mental wellness and Christian growth. Our journals provide inspirational articles, motivational quotes, biblical guidance, writing prompts to release your feelings, fears, and thoughts, as well as strategies for success to tackle your goals and pursue your purpose. Visit our website and join our mailing list at www.indiewrites.com to learn more.